Okay, let's unpack this. 43 goals and 15 assists in 50 appearances. I mean, in your debut season.
Incredible numbers.
And then he follows it up. 42 goals, 11 assists in 42 appearances this season.
It's almost a goal a game, basically.
We are talking about Viktor Gyökeres at Sporting CP. And these numbers, well, they're not just good. They're, frankly, stratospheric. Puts him in the same conversation as someone like Erling Haaland.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of output is rare.
And now the buzz is getting pretty strong. Reliable sources are suggesting Arsenal, under their new sporting director, Andrea Berta, are very keen, really keen on bringing him to North London this summer to, lead their attack.
And what's striking immediately is just the sheer volume, isn't it? Goals and assists. So for you listening, maybe trying to piece this together quickly, it's natural to wonder.
Yeah, like, who is this guy?
Exactly. Who is this player suddenly getting this top-level attention? What kind of forward is he? And, the big one, would he actually fit into Arsenal's system?
There's certainly been a lot of analysis popping up, hasn't there?
Oh, loads. Detailed video breakdowns from places like the Goonerverse, tactical stuff on Daily Dose of Football, the Athletic FC, the Cannon Podcast. It's all out there.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we're doing today on the Deep Dive. We've sifted through all that info, the YouTube stuff, the expert takes to bring you the core insights.
Right.
Our mission really is to give you a clear picture of Viktor Gyökeres, his style, how he might fit at Arsenal, and, the key questions around this potential big signing. So where do we start?
Let's begin with the basics, the player profile. Viktor Gyökeres, he's 26 years old, good height, about 6'2".
Yeah.
Predominantly right-footed. And he's a Swedish international, which, alongside Isak, that's quite an interesting prospect for Sweden.
Definitely.
And interestingly, he's picked up some, pretty significant comparisons over his career. In Sweden, they were calling him the new Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Wow, okay, high praise.
Very.
Yeah.
While his form in Portugal has led some to compare him to, Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. Seriously.
In terms of impact there, yeah. And for Arsenal fans, maybe with longer memories, some even see a bit of a resemblance to maybe a pre-injury Lucas Podolski.
Oh, interesting. That directness, maybe.
Yeah, that build and directness.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for me. When we look at the specifics of his goals, especially that first season at Sporting, thanks to the Goonerverse for that deep dive.
Yeah, they broke it down well.
Some really telling patterns emerge. Out of those 43 goals, right, a massive 32 were one-touch finishes.
32.
That's around 75%. It really paints a picture, doesn't it? A predatory striker. Someone who's just excellent at getting in the right spot and bang, goal. Minimal fuss.
That heavy reliance on one-touch finishes, it definitely defines a key part of his game, being in the right place, right time, inside the box.
Yeah.
But when you dig a bit deeper into the types of goals, some interesting questions pop up, especially thinking about Premier League defenses, which are often different.
Okay, like what?
Well, that Goonerverse analysis showed only 9 of his goals that season came from runs in behind.
Only 9? Huh. Less than I'd expect for someone retortedly fast and physical.
Exactly. And similarly, just 8 goals were scored against what we call deep blocks.
The low block. Arsenal's nemesis sometimes.
Precisely. When teams sit back, pack the defense, limit space, that raises questions about how effective he is in those really congested penalty areas.
Right, and this next stat is quite revealing too. 16 of his goals, or about 37%, came when there were 4 or fewer defenders in the box. Which suggests he really thrives when there's a bit more space to operate, doesn't it?
It does. And the Premier League, it's known for generally tighter, more physical defenses. He might not get that kind of space quite as often.
Good point. And the headed goals thing, only 5. Despite Arsenal liking a cross, that's another point to consider.
Definitely. Although it has to be said, the vast majority, 42 of the 43 goals, were scored from inside the penalty area.
Okay, so he is getting into the dangerous zones.
Absolutely. Reinforces that reputation as a finisher in and around the 6-yard box.
So this breakdown gives a much more kind of nuanced picture than just the big headline number.
For sure. Though the Goonerverse did point out something potentially encouraging. Even against those deep defenses.
Oh, yeah.
They spotted instances where he showed these surprising bursts, like quick, darting runs in behind, even when space looked really tight.
Oh, okay.
Which hints maybe at a potential to exploit through balls from guys like Odegaard.
Right. If Arsenal can thread those passes, that's the key, isn't it?
That's the crucial question, yeah. How consistently can they create those precise passing lanes?
Let's shift gears slightly. Look at his broader stats, his playing style. FBref data, some tactical reports.
Okay.
Interestingly, his passing numbers are actually quite strong. high completion rates, good number of key passes, passes leading to a shot.
Right.
And he gets the ball into the box quite a lot. Suggests he's not just a finisher, he's involved in the build-up too.
That's a really important point to highlight. He's not just waiting around, he's actively involved, which fits with those assist numbers too.
Yeah.
However, when you look at the defensive side, the stats are, well, notably lower, fewer tackles recorded, and his success rate in aerial duels is only around 30%, which, for a guy his size...
30%, that is quite low.
It's relatively modest. Now, for an Arsenal team under Arteta, where the demand for work rate and defensive contribution from everyone is huge.
Especially the forwards, yeah. The press starts there.
Exactly. So this is an area that will definitely be looked at closely.
Absolutely. But it's not just about what he might lack defensively, is it? The analysis from Daily Dose of Football, they called him a real transition demon.
Right. Very effective when play switches quickly.
They described him as physically imposing, fast, good feet, emphasized his ability to score, sure, but also create chances himself, thriving in 1v1s, even 1v2s sometimes.
That picture is compelling, isn't it? A powerful, kind of multifaceted attacker.
It is. And it just shows how complex it is evaluating him.
Yeah.
He clearly has the tools to trouble defenses in different ways.
Definitely. But that lower defensive output,
Yeah.
It's something Arsenal will have to weigh up carefully. Every player in Arteta's system has those responsibilities.
So any new signing would need to adapt fast, or
the team's tactics might need to compensate somehow for any shortcomings there.
Now let's get into this fascinating bit of his story. The missed opportunity at Brighton. Daily Dose of Football highlighted this.
Ah, yes, the Brighton chapter.
Signed from the Swedish second tier. Maybe understandable there were initial doubts, quite a step up.
Sure, big jump.
He made a few appearances, even scored in the League Cup. Interestingly, same game McAllister scored in.
And what's really striking looking back is how different their paths were after that game.
Totally.
McAllister gets integrated, develops, becomes key, moves to Liverpool for big money. Gyökeres. Sent out on loan almost immediately, never played for Brighton in the league again.
It seems like his journey wasn't exactly smooth even before Brighton, right? Challenges in lower Swedish leagues, though he did help get promotion eventually.
Suggests a player who's really had to battle for recognition, yeah.
Even doing well for Brighton's under-23s didn't really lead to first-team chances. Reports of tactical fit issues under Graham Potter back then, too.
And those loan spells afterwards were a bit of a mixed bag, weren't they?
Yeah.
Decent time at St. Pauli in Germany, but then a tougher spell at Swansea, hit by COVID too, which didn't help.
You'd think at that point, maybe the top league dream was fading a bit.
Could have easily felt that way.
But then came what looks like the real turning point.
Yeah.
Permanent move to Coventry City. Relatively small fee.
And under Mark Robins, he just blossomed.
Totally. Became the main man up front, key to their championship success, racking up goals, assists, strong underlying numbers.
And it was those performances that really put him back on the radar for bigger clubs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even though Premier League interest didn't quite materialize then,
Sporting CP stepped up. Big time. Club record fee for them.
and his impact in Portugal, just immediate, remarkable, breaking records, winning awards.
And showing what's been described as this endless hunger to score. Even in big games like against Porto, reportedly outperforming Pepe, showing his quality on a big stage.
And that goal celebration, the mask one, it carries a real message, doesn't it? No one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
Yeah, it really speaks volumes about his journey, the setbacks, the resilience he must have built up.
Adds another layer, like a player who felt maybe underestimated and is now determined to prove everyone wrong.
It does. Which brings us right back to the central question for Arsenal fans and for us today. Is Viktor Gyökeres actually the right fit for Arsenal?
Yeah, both the Athletic FC and the Canon podcast have really dug into this, given Arsenal obviously need to strengthen up front this summer.
And they mention other potential targets too, haven't they? Names like Benjamin Sesko.
Isak, Ollie Watkins, all mentioned,
Yeah.
each with their own pros and cons, transfer complexities.
And it seems there are pretty different opinions among analysts about whether Gyökeres really has those quote-unquote elite qualities or that Premier League readiness Arsenal need right now.
That's a critical point. The standard of the Portuguese league. It always comes up when assessing players moving to, say, the Premier League.
It does. Are those amazing numbers maybe slightly inflated by the competition level compared to what he'd face week in, week out in England? It's a legitimate question.
The Athletic made an interesting point analyzing his goals. Noticed a tendency to operate wider sometimes, score from crosses into the box. Use Champions League examples. Which does raise questions about how neatly he fits into Arsenal's often more central attacking patterns under Arteta.
Exactly. Arsenal, under Arteta, have often built their attack through intricate passing, working it wide for cutbacks, central finishes. If Gyökeres naturally drifts wide or prefers crosses,
Then maybe there needs to be some tactical adaptation. Or maybe they see a different role for him.
potentially, it would require some adjustment, either from him or the team.
The Athletic even brought up a Football Manager scouting report. Not real-world data, obviously, but sometimes gives a flavor.
What did it say?
Highlighted his strong finishing, penalties, determination, work rate, physicality, but maybe flagged potential development areas in things like dribbling, first touch.
Okay, that kind of aligns with what you see visually. Powerful, direct. The Athletics Mario Kart analogy was quite good, actually.
Yeah, go on.
Gyökeres as Donkey Kong. Maybe not the quickest build-up, but unstoppable once he gets going in space.
Huh, I like that.